Hi, I'm Joan.
And I'm Ellen, and
we're two gals in Kentucky.
So, Joan, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing okay. We're here. Oh, there comes an airplane right there. We're here at the Honda Fit right now, and we have something to talk about what we're going to be talking about in our YouTube today.
Yes.
So shall we open up the trunk?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. It doesn't take much to open up.
Ooh.
Now, usually we have a suitcase back here, but it's springtime. We're a little bit lighter in our life. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Pandemic is moving along forward, and we're hoping that perhaps we'll be a little bit more free in our lives as things go on. So let's open up this box. This box was painted by a really good friend of mine, and I've known her for 50 years. I knew her since before I was born. Not really, but here we go. Here, I'm not that old. And inside the box, if we open this up, oops, we've got some handkerchiefs in here. We're going to open up the red one first.
Yes.
Joan, would you like to open up the red one for me?
Ooh.
Okay, why don't you take that?
Okay.
And then we'll open up the other one, because this has to tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing today.
Ooh.
So, we have a little Chinese guy here, a little Asian guy, and he's carrying a backpack, and that pack is full. Can you see that?
Yes.
It is packed, and I would imagine it's an Asian statue that I picked up when I was in Bangkok, and I believe this guy is trucking along the woods here, and he's carrying everything on his back. There's even a cup there. You see that?
Yes.
That little cup there.
Yes.
And I think in a way, this might be the way we all have felt during this year. We're not carrying it on our back, but I think we're carrying it as heavy in our hearts. And
Absolutely. A lot of weight on our shoulders.
a lot of weight on our shoulders, a lot of weight in our heads, a lot of weight in our hearts. So this, if we think about that backpack as being the pandemic and all the things that it might have made us carry on our shoulders, right?
Right.
That's that little guy here. So, Joan, I'm going to let you have that. And I'm going to open up the purple one now.
All right.
So the purple one is actually a lotus flower. A lotus flower is symbolic of a rebirth and a regeneration. And as we're beginning to come out of COVID, we can start to think that the lotus flower maybe will symbolize that rebirth and regeneration, just like the springtime will do. And I think there's a lot of really good things ahead for all of us, because we're all coming into it fuller, right?
Yes.
There's one more in there. Let's open up that last one there. Can you get that? Yeah. It's in the purple. What is in there, John? Another.
Oh, beautiful.
So we have two lotus flowers here. So we are hoping that we will all be lotus flowers, and we're going to talk to you in our YouTube about the new rebirth that we're going to all have as different people going into a new year. Right,
Yes.
Joan? Thank you all. We'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, I'm Joan.
And I'm Ellen.
And we're two gals in Kentucky. At the last YouTube, we talked about what it's going to look like coming back out after COVID, and we talked about looking good and
We did.
fashion.
We talked about looking good and what were your best colors, and we wrapped scarves around. And interestingly, the last time we did that, remember the weather, Joe?
Oh yes.
Yes.
It was so cold and so windy.
It was cold and it was windy.
It was.
And it was icy.
And it was icy.
But we wanted to make sure we put that YouTube up to show you that we're not expert professionals, that we're actually just like you, and we're trying to navigate life.
Yes.
And trying to navigate a pandemic that we have all been through and continue to be through.
Yes.
And talking today a little bit, continuing on what it's going to be to come out of this. Not only looking our very best, but that it's going to feel a little bit awkward.
Yeah. It definitely is. And you can already see it. And as you start to move about a little bit, awkwardness as you go out in public to maybe the grocery store or to the gym, and Some people are not wearing masks at all, and some people are wearing their masks and they're down below their chin, which they're essentially not wearing a mask at all.
Yeah.
Or down below their nose, just covering their mouth. Once again, essentially not wearing a mask at all.
That's right.
So we're thinking about and talking about how we're going to navigate and deal with that and that awkwardness and what that's going to mean for us.
Yeah, it's a whole new social environment as we speak, because what is happening is everybody's an individual.
Yeah.
And before pandemic, we were all individuals too, and we all dealt with social situations in very different ways, because you can be very outgoing and happy-go-lucky and not be comfortable with a group of strangers. That's pretty much the way I am. I don't find that as an enjoyable thing. But you find people now where everybody, if you've been vaccinated, you almost feel like Wonder Woman or Superman, right?
Oh yeah. There's definitely a level of confidence that comes with having been vaccinated, or having survived COVID, when you then have the antibodies and T cells to protect you. So there's definitely a certain confidence that comes with that.
Right.
I think it's also very important, though, at least in my mind, it's very important that we not forget where we are and how many people aren't vaccinated and how many people don't plan on being vaccinated.
That's right.
And I can only speak for myself and say that even though I'm vaccinated and I've got the T cells and the antibodies from COVID, I avoid, when I see somebody who's not wearing their mask or not wearing it right, or I am very, very careful and very deliberate to make sure that I'm more than 6 feet away from that person. Or if it's an option, I just completely take myself out of the situation.
And those are the ways I think we're all going to stay healthy and safe. I had said to someone, I think and we're going to move on to that topic, but I think the topic, or maybe the way to think about it, is when you're wearing a mask, you have superpowers, because your superpowers can't be seen. And we're not wearing masks here because we're in our bubble, but the superpowers are that you probably are limiting the infection for other people to get sick.
Absolutely.
And that's a superpower, because nobody can see it, number one, except for the mask. Nobody knows what's in your head that you have that superpower. Now, you take off the mask and you're walking around and you're just kind of hanging out and you're spreading whatever spreadings you're doing. You have no superpowers because everybody can see it, but you got that mask on and it makes you like a Superwoman or Wonder Woman or Superman.
Yeah.
So the beginning of our topic today, the very beginning, we opened up the old trunk of the Honda Fit again, and inside it was that box. And when we opened the box, there were 3 things in the box, and the first 2 were the same, and it was a lotus flower. And a lotus flower pretty much is symbolism of a rebirth, very much like the springtime is a time of rebirth, and pretty much every religion has that. Every single religion has it when things are being born again. I mean, just look around us in this beautiful place we are right now. Everything is beginning to bud and beginning to open up, and we have that opportunity coming up where those of us who did our due diligence and who protected others, those of us who did that are going to be rewarded in a way that we know we were Superwoman and Wonder Woman and Superman by trying to protect others and continuing to do so. And the very last figure in the little box was, and there's a significance of the box, was a Buddha statue. And on his back, he had a lot of stuff on his back. A lot of stuff on his back, filled with things, which very much feels like this past year, don't you think, Joan?
Oh yeah. That it was very symbolic. It was very symbolic of the load that we've all had to carry.
Absolutely.
So much on our plates and so much weighing on us and on our shoulders.
And unknown. And the unknown, too. The unknown as well.
And the fear and the uncertainty
That's
that
the
comes
unknown,
with.
yeah.
Right.
That's it. I mean, you put your mask on, but you're not really sure it's even going to protect people. But inside you have faith that if you do these things that science is telling us, and it's a combination of belief, of faith, of science. You put all those things together. It's never just one path. Because if you follow one path, you're only going to get from here to here. But if you follow one path and you enrich it, right?
Right.
And you try other, then you get a beautiful colored masterpiece. So here's the question.
Absolutely.
Here's your question today. So it's 2021, and the pandemic began in
2019.
No,
Well, 2020 was when it was in full swing.
Right, 2020. Let's say 2020.
2020, yeah.
So in 2020, you're a grandma, or a Matu as I am, or a Nani as you are, or a Nana as someone else is. And you began in 2020, and you have a 13-year-old granddaughter. Okay, we're going to use a granddaughter. And this granddaughter is smart. She's sharp. She learned a lot from her Nani or her Matu. And she knew she had to wear a mask. She had to be like a super kiddo. And she had to do all of these things. And she learned that. And so you helped her, and her mama helped her, and her dad helped her, and her grandpa helped her, and everybody helped her. And she evolved, right? Okay. Fast forward to 2022. COVID pandemic has subsided. We're going about things in a much richer way. Everything is going. Your granddaughter, let's name her Susie, is growing up beautifully. And now it's 2026, and the pandemic strikes again. It's a different pandemic. What are you going to tell Susie? Joan, your turn.
Well, I think that what we mostly gained from the last pandemic, and what I would want to assure my granddaughter in the next pandemic, would be that change can be scary, but change is okay. And that change forces us to grow and evolve and adapt in ways that maybe we would not have wanted to, in ways that were uncomfortable. But when we came out of it richer and better and more blessed. We came out of it better. So I would say that when the next pandemic hits, I think what I would tell my granddaughter is be strong and look toward tomorrow and adapt, and don't be afraid of the change and to adapt, because you're going to come out in a better and a brighter place. And
so we didn't do this today, but I wished we had. Somebody gave us an analogy, and this is a good one that Joan is just talking about this now. And the analogy was, in difficult situations, are you a popsicle stick? Are you a glow stick? Or are you a pipe cleaner? Now, we probably should have all three of those here, but we don't. So, obviously, a popsicle stick situation is difficult and snap.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Pipe cleaner
bends.
You bend.
And twists and adapts.
Right. On a glow stick, you also break, but every time you break, you glow again, and you have more glow places.
Yes.
So it expands and it's enriching. So that was a very good visualization, I thought, of how you think about who you are.
Yes.
And how you adapt. And you don't have to be one, because Joan told me who she was, and she said, but before I was...
Right. Before, I think I was a popsicle. And I snapped, and I did not thrive, and I did not adapt. And through this pandemic and through my own personal journey, I am absolutely a glow stick now.
A glow stick, yep.
You know, nothing breaks me, and I'm not afraid of it anymore. Every time something happens and my glow stick snaps again, I am going to keep glowing.
Yeah. And you know, we talked about how people can change and people can have a combination of those things too. We canvassed a group of women that we work with who are part of our Two Gals group, and they all said they were pipe cleaners, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
They all said they were pipe cleaners. I was the only one who has never actually seen I've actually never seen a glow stick break.
Oh my gosh, okay.
You know, I've never seen a snap bracelet either, so I'm kind of like behind the times, but not all of them had seen glow sticks, and they hadn't, you know, they hadn't thought of themselves as that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. I think that on a very basic level, I think that we're all a combination, because in order to be a glow stick, you have to also have the flexibility of a pipe cleaner. I mean,
yes, that's true too.
So I guess on some basic level, we're all pipe cleaners. And it's just that ability to take a bad situation and somehow make it beautiful, make it better.
Make it like a rebirth, like a lotus flower.
Absolutely.
You know, it's in Thailand, they have the kantoks that when it's Loy Katong, the Katong, that's what it's called. And they're these little tiny boats that you put a little light in that has a little flower in it, and you push it out onto a lake. And you push out the year onto the lake, or you throw up the lanterns in the sky. So I guess every culture has that rebirth, that restart, that reboot. Even your computer. My computer today, we were trying to print these silly things off, and it just kept stopping, so I just rebooted it, and it started up again, and I was able to print it. So the question is, for me, when Susie asks me in 2026 if I'm still alive, what would I say to her what would you say to Susie, or me say to Susie? What was, you think, how am I going to say this? Not the most positive, but the most growth producing thing that happened during the pandemic that you went through it. And don't forget, we're going to have to go through it again in 2026.
Right.
Susie's starting it, but we're going to have to go through it again. And so that's hard. That's another whole thing. Repeat, the repeat button. But what is the single thing you think that you learned from the pandemic year? And you may not have a single thing, or you may have several. What do you think? What is yours, Joan?
I think that mine is exactly what I just talked about. I think that mine is that I can change and adapt. I'm a creature of habit, and Ellen and I always joke about it, about breakfast, the exact same thing, 7 days a week. My lunch is the exact same thing. I'm a creature of habit and of routine, and that's 100% where my comfort level is. And I'm not looking to change that on a daily or voluntary basis. But this year, when I was forced to make some big changes, I learned that I'm not only capable of changing, but I'm capable of thriving within the change, and that the change can make me better and stronger. Right. That's my takeaway, and that was my biggest lesson in 2020.
That is a good lesson. That's a really good lesson, because I was reading this morning about change, and change is very difficult. You can even make a change and change where you go on vacation, or you can change your shoes, which are always an adapt. I mean, something as simple as a pair of shoes, you have to adapt to them. Maybe you'll get blisters, or maybe your foot's positioned the wrong way. Change is very good, because you'll be grateful not only for what you had that you love, that you bring into that change, but you will also be really proud of yourself for going through it. I thought about this question too, and I thought about all these things that I had learned, because I went on a learning thing and an artistic kind of a deep inside trying to figure things out, and I'm very pleased with what I did. However, that was not the highlight of the pandemic, and it wasn't the people who I hated because they didn't wear a mask, or they made fun, or whatever. It wasn't those that I thought about. It was the constant evolution of each thing. Like, I would watch people who would say, I'll never wear a mask, this is not real, and somehow something bad would happen related to COVID. And they began to think that maybe we should think about other people, that they're being selfish, or they're selfish, meaning thinking about themselves and their own feelings. Or then I would do an art project, and it would start out, and I would say, this is what I want to do, this is what I must do, and it would evolve into it. Feelings evolved. So I can't, what I would say to Susie would say, you have to trust and believe that it's an evolution, and there will be parts on that journey that will not be nice at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
There will be parts on that journey that will rip your heart out. There will be parts on the journey, and it's worth it at the end because the evolution continues. I think that's what it is. For me, that's what it is. The I've finished the art projects, and they're great, and I finished the processes, and they're great, and I mean, all of these things. I had friends die. But life, you still get that lotus flower, right, Joan?
Yeah, absolutely.
You get the springtime.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there's a rebirth. And so I think the year of COVID, you can look your very, very best. Contact us at, Two Gals in Kentucky, or give us an email or a call, and we'll arrange to come and help you look even more beautiful than you do. And that's really important. And that combined with what you learned,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
will continue to evolve and be all three of those things. Be the pipe cleaner, be the popsicle stick,
And be the glow stick.
and be the glow stick. And so, from Two Gals in Kentucky,
I'm Joan.
and I'm Ellen. See y'all later.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain.